Look, a lot of people are wondering why I totally left and dropped the alt-right and the far-right, and I never gave my perspective, so that's what this video is. I left you guys not because I disagreed with your ideology initially. It was not that. It was personal. There was a tension between me and the population of the alt-right that got really personal. And that is because of a deep issue that makes the alt-right fundamentally wrong. That issue is that they do not know thy enemy, and when somebody in their circle is not participating in the circle jerk on a certain issue and they're just standing up and being like, hey, maybe you're wrong, and they're the only one doing it and they have no support, what happens is the whole group stops the circle jerk and they're uncomfortable. And they're feeling like they're personally attacked by you going up to them, and you're just stopping the fun circle jerk that they're having fun with, and they're not being rational at this point. Because when you say something and you're part of the group, you can kind of make it stop. You can make an awkward silence. And you make the people turn, and they look at you. And they're mad that you have stopped the circle jerk. And they will not counter the rational arguments you're making because you're genuinely thinking they're wrong and you want to make them right, but they're looking at you like you're standing out from the crowd. Why? Why are you standing out from the crowd? Are you a Fed? And then they look at you and you see that they are misidentifying you as their enemy when you are their ally. And it really fucking stings because it started to happen every fucking time. Every time I would make a video, this would happen in multiple different ways on multiple different topics. So it's just the prevailing issue of how the alt-right and the far-right in general, and maybe even radical politics in general, just these people, they act very cult-like with their mentality, where they are so convinced altogether that something is right and just that they cannot consider any other idea. They lose the ability to consider another human's perspective because they've gone so far down the rabbit hole. Their enemy is totally dehumanized, needs to be crushed in every possible way. So they're looking at you like their enemy, and they misidentify you because they do not know thy enemy. And they look at you and they personally attack you. You know what they said to me that really stung? Get back in the kitchen, woman. This is proof women aren't supposed to be involved in politics. Get back in the kitchen, bitch. And you know what? They didn't counter my argument. They just told me to get back in that kitchen. And eventually it happened so often and the frustration was unbearable. I got back in that kitchen and I started looking at every issue in society from a very disassociated perspective because you attacked me so hardcore, deep to my core. You said because of my gender, I don't deserve an opinion. You said all of my opinions that I have ever had and ever been compassionate about. You said that all of that was not valid. And I'm sitting here speaking my mind because I want to change a big fucking problem that I feel is killing us. I was so passionate about the white race and white people, and I still am today because I have a need for identity, but I'm not taking it from a toxic approach where I can't see anyone's perspective. I'm not taking it that way. I just like my culture. I got my 23andMe done. I know who I am now because a part of me was like not knowing who I was. It was just really weird, like not knowing the breakdown of your races because there's holes in your family tree. And because I was in this like toxic mindset, I was like, am I a Jew? And does being a Jew make me a bad person? Just this fear of a Jew, that's like just irrational. That's just totally irrational in every possible way. And if you can't see that being scared of those people is irrational, just being scared of them or being scared of being one, because you should know yourself, you should know thyself, and you should know thy enemy, and most of you don't know that, and this is why you're going to lose. This is why everything you're doing online and with the public is going to have the eventual consequence of escalating the conflict to full-on civil war. And this is not going to be a fantasy novel like Dr. William Pierce's. The reality of this will be South Africa. The reality of this will be hot. It will be bloody. Everyone's going to die that is continuing this mindset because it's now hot and you're just completely fighting against your opposition. But the people you're fighting against, in this situation that we're in right now in the present, the alt-right and the far-right, you have two enemies that are completely different that you think is one. They're different. Then they're different because of class. You are fighting the working class, anti-racists. You are fighting the bourgeoisie, as the far left would call it. And you think they're the Jews because they're the billionaires with power and influence. It doesn't matter who they are personally. You are fighting a two-front war just like Hitler, and you will fall just like Hitler the exact same way. The exact same way. It's the exact same mistake because you're reading Hitler and taking everything to heart, everything that you're going to make the same mistake as him. And a lot of people have brought this up, and it's all about mindset. It's not that you're feeling like you're doing the best thing, and I get that because I was in your shoes. I'm not saying your perspective is invalid and that you're fundamentally wrong because you're a horrible person deep down inside like the left is telling you. You know you're not that horrible person. You know that you have a higher conviction that you feel the white race is threatened because it is. It fucking is. You have a fucking point. You have a point that there is hatred going on and injustice. And, just how my perspective on that issue has evolved over the years is that it's economic. That is the issue. Because the fact you can't have a white baby, you're delaying, or you can't have a white baby because it's too expensive too. And you're thinking it's personal. It's too expensive. It's too expensive because this group of people want to kill me and they made it so. But have you actually looked at economic theory? Have you actually tried to understand economics? It's expensive because we live in a for-profit economy where you are part of the working class and you are being drained and exploited, and you're in a bad situation here. This is why you are attracted to this radical ideology, because you are under attack. That is right. You're under attack because you are part of a class that is being drained. And I'm only speaking to the working class here because that's the only people in the alt-right and far-right I care about. I don't care about the rich ones. You know what? You can take your money and you can suck it because you're just as bad as the people who have created this problem, who have let capitalism get this bad and didn't oppose it in the past. You're just as bad as them because you're on that team. And the sad thing is, a hell lot of the alt-right and far-right are working class and poor, and a hell lot of them support their oppressor, capitalism. A hell lot of them are cucking out to capitalism. You're being a cuck. This economic system, they are draining you of everything. You can't even have a baby because it's too expensive. Childcare is too expensive. That's an economic issue. That's an economic issue that you're not getting, that you're misidentifying because you feel the issue. The issue is real. You feel like it's an attack on the white race because it also is. This economic system is having that consequence, and you're realizing that. But you're not looking at the whole picture here. That the economic system is a problem, and it is a problem for absolutely everyone that's a part of your class, including the people that you disagree with, that you are fighting. So this is why I'm ending the war, because I realize I do not want to fight against people of my own class, because that's only benefiting the fucking asshole billionaires. It's only benefiting them. And I want to end it. It's over from my side. Freaking Antifa, liberals, left. It's over from my side. And I'm only speaking to the working class here. Because that's the only people that I care about reaching, is the only people I could reach. Because I am obviously looking very poor. I'm looking like I'm a member of the lower class. And it's not because I'm in a $50 onesie. It's because of my fucking teeth. They look, they're fucked up. They're not perfect. They ain't perfect. I can't afford it. And I'm actually kind of scared of dental care. And there was a point where I had insurance and I was scared to use it. And now I don't have that type of dental insurance anymore. And I'm like, fuck. So I got to fix that problem to get these fixed. That it's like, I had a traumatizing experience. And, talking about traumatizing experiences, you are traumatizing your opposition the way you are approaching the topic. And I know you don't care about feelings Feelings are not logical and feelings are stupid, but feelings are important to your opposition. And it's the Sun Tzu quote, which is why you are gonna die, which is why you are gonna lose, which is why there's no fucking hope, and the black pill is the most logical approach if you are gonna continue this mindset. It's this quote: if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself, not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. And you know what? You've already suffered a defeat, far-right, alt-right. It was called Charlottesville. That was a defeat. Wasn't it a defeat? Because you could think back now, I think everybody on all sides can just be like, that was a fucking mess. Nothing was accomplished but bad. That was a fucking mess because you don't know thy enemy. It's not just that your enemy is so strong. And that's also a reason you have to look at your position logically and who you are. You need to know thyself and know what you have and what you don't have. And right now, it's not going to turn out like a Dr. William Pierce novel like you're thinking. It's not going to be exciting. You're going to watch your children be murdered if this continues to be escalated. You do realize that, right? You're not even trying to do this, but you are so scared of the white race going extinct, and you are so convicted about that, and you feel like society doesn't understand that you are lashing out, and you are poking your enemy. You're poking them hard, and you feel like you're doing good activism, but what you're doing is they're taking it personal. It doesn't matter what you say. It's not your argument that is wrong. It's not the intricate details of your ideology that I'm pointing out here is wrong. It's your mindset. It's the way you're approaching it. It's the fact you don't know thyself and you don't know thy enemy. You don't know thyself, and that's why you're doing this. And you don't know thy enemy, and that's why you continue doing this. And that's why you're going to lose, and you're going to doom absolutely everybody if you continue doing this publicly. You just keep succumbing in every battle. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. And I know how it feels to just realize the black pill and realize it isn't working. Because if you actually try, I tried my hardest. 18-year-old self-me with the Avalion channel tried her hardest to convince the normies that I was right and your fucking alt-right and far-right position was right. I did your work for you better than most of you were doing it at the time. I was just kind of ahead of the curve with the way I made those videos because I just gave it so much thought. I gave that like a year or two of thought before I made them. And it was like, I was not successful. You tell me I was successful because I was right, because I gathered such an army of alt-righters and far-righters. I didn't create them. I didn't. Maybe a few, but I didn't create them. I was not successful at turning people away from the liberals because I didn't see their perspective and I couldn't speak to them. Like, I couldn't bring up class. I couldn't make these types of arguments because I couldn't see their perspective. I was being cocky. I was being arrogant. That's what you are being, and that's why when you are debating each other, you're turning each other against each other. That's why it's a drama storm. The alt-right and the far-right is just a drama storm, at least on the internet. I don't think it's like this in real life, but I haven't actually seen them operate in real life. I've just been on the internet, and this is just my personal perspective, and please do not attack me personally because of this. Please try to listen to what I'm saying because this is serious. This is life or death, and this can escalate so bad that you are creating propaganda for your enemy to justify your genocide. Because you might think you're hitting the nail on the head by being aggressive. You might think you're doing the right thing. But that's what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. This is what punch a Nazi means. Punch a Nazi doesn't mean I'm just going to punch people because that's just what I do when I'm presented with an argument. It's the way you're coming at the argument. It's not your argument. It's your approach. It's your mindset. You are incapable of seeing their perspective. You don't understand them. You don't. And I got I understood my mindset was wrong and my approach to the problem was wrong when I had an army of millions of people triggered by Leafy is here after me. And I tried to put down the facts the same way you guys do it. I tried to do it the most logical, rational way. And then I tried my hardest to get attention, to bring attention to that. Avalion was a calculated effort to get Leafy or someone like Leafy's attention because I knew the commentary community was strong. And this was just a very calculated strategy. And, I think a lot of people get scared if I open up that I had a strategy. Because I had a strategy. And at the time, you can perceive that as evil, like I'm evilly working. But you see, from my perspective, I was evilly working with the strategy to save the white race. But from the opposition perspective, I'm evilly working to end the Jewish race, the black race, every other race but white. And it's just like, here's a fundamental miscommunication, because that was my genuine intention, honestly, to all God. I don't know how to prove to you that was my genuine intention because you took my arguments such a bad way. My arguments were so bad and I didn't realize them. But to the opposition here, I'm talking to the opposition right now, I don't realize how bad I was looking at the time because I really thought I was saving the white race. And this is the alt-right's perspective. And to the alt-right and the far-right, I get it. I haven't forgotten about the conviction. I'm just looking at this because I thought this through for 4 fucking years straight. And I felt so bad when I realized that my mindset and approach was wrong. And I was trying to bring up to you guys that something was wrong here. Something's wrong here. I'm beating my head against the brick wall. I'm beating my head against the brick wall trying to turn everyone into a Nazi. But it's not working because the approach is just wrong. And I'm looking bad because the approach is wrong. And then you also have, it's not just the approach that is wrong, but you also have a very misdirected, reasoning. Because, if you think about white genocide, maybe I should get this into another topic, but you can think about that a different way. I'm just going to be brief, it's an economic problem. The reason why you can't have kids is because it's too expensive. And you just got to think about why it's expensive, and there's other reasons why, and it's our economic system in general. It's the system. It don't matter if capitalism was being run by all white people. It would still suck. It just would. And I could get more in depth with that in the future, but this is fucking 18 minutes long. Most people don't have this attention span. I hope I got my opinion across, which is, to sum it up, you guys have the wrong mindset. You don't know yourself, because I know you don't know yourself, because you're taking something very personal. You took my rational arguments very personal, and you couldn't separate the fact I was your ally disagreeing with you. You couldn't accept the fact that I was disagreeing with you from the fact I was your ally. I became your enemy, and you attacked me with such viciousness that it was the same level of viciousness that you attacked your enemy. And that made me feel, I took that personal too, because I was on the same page as you. And, we were just sitting here taking everything personal. And I was like, whoa, you feel like I'm your enemy? You guys are my enemy. You guys are misguided. You guys are misdirected, and this is going south. So I hopped off the sinking ship, and you guys are still on it. You guys are still on it, and unless you fucking change something about your mindset and your approach to life, you're gonna sink. And you're gonna sink fast, because not only are you on the sinking ship, but a bunch of you guys are setting fires. And I set a big fire, and I'm like, holy shit, I realize it now. I jumped right off in the water and I hid. I jumped right into the water and I hid, because I didn't know what to do. And now I've thought about it enough where I just kind of know I should approach it this way to you. And I could just start speaking my mind again with conviction, because I also want to communicate to you guys that I empathize with you. I'm not going to dox you. I'm not going to kill you. This isn't personal. This is a disagreement. And this disagreement is the fact that your mindset is wrong and you could think about it different. But you see, you were pushed into that mindset you feel like you're just and you can rationalize it because the issues of capitalism and our society in general and other sociological issues and the fact that we have these billionaires that are drunk on power and wealth who are just these billionaires you call the Jews, but I could point to, I'm really bad with names, but I do know there are billionaires, very wealthy, influential people who exist who aren't Jewish. What about them? What about them? Because they're just as destructive and they're in the same class as the Jews. You guys don't understand class. What you're doing is when you attack like your opposition, you're attacking the same class. You're stabbing yourself in the foot because your enemy, those billionaires you feel are the Jews, they're also stabbing you in the foot too, and you're noticing that, and it's with economics. It's with a for-profit economic system. And you're also misidentifying them as Jews because it's the fact they have class that they are doing this. This is why a bunch of y'all are so confused. You see, someone will be like, not all Jews, but some Jews are very fucked up anti-Semitic comments. And you see, that doesn't make sense. It's not all Jews, but then you say something fucked up that your opposition views as fucked up and unacceptable, not socially acceptable. So the reason why this is happening, if we look at the sociology and we're looking at their perspective, the reason why this is happening is because it doesn't make sense. Your argument doesn't make sense. You are asserting that Jews are this, but not all. So what are you trying to say? You don't know. You don't know thyself. You don't know thy enemy. And you're gonna fucking die if you continue this. So please fucking listen up. You see, you don't know why you're making this argument. You're not thinking rationally here. You're actually thinking with a high level of emotion because you are so angry at the problem that you feel the white race is going extinct and they are causing it. So just kind of think about this in a more rational mindset, please. Please. I have to say something before I actually see you dead. Okay? You have to think about this in a really, really rational mindset that you are correct that the behavior that a Jewish individual you are seeing is really bad. But there is something that is going on with everyone who has wealth and money and power. Because power is the influence. The influence that they have the freedom to enact their political goal. And deep down inside, you wish you had that too to fix the problem. And that's the analysis of at least how I felt. I think a lot of you will relate to me because a lot of you are on the same page. And I just feel like your approach to the problem is very wrong. Your idea of hard-hitting propaganda to convince other people is wrong. You are not on social media being comfortable being yourself. You are going on social media with the intention of turning people to your side. It's not going to work because your approach to the problem is wrong because you don't understand thy enemy. You're speaking to a bunch of people you are socially ostracized from that you are also seeing them as your enemy. You're approaching them with an argument, with the mindset like they are the enemy and they feel it. These are people in touch with their emotions because emotional arguments make sense to them. And they are seeing your viciousness come out. They just get the vibe. You're trying so hard to formulate the opinion to brainwash them, but they're seeing through it and it's pissing them off. They're not sitting back and being like, thought-provoking argument, Mr. Fascist. I haven't thought about it that way before. I'm gonna join your circle jerk. That's not happening. What's happening is they are seeing you act a certain way. They are getting the wrong idea. They are misunderstanding you, and that's why you are socially ostracized. And they're seeing you as the enemy. And when they fight back, you feel like it's confirmation of your conviction. It's confirmation that Jews are ruining the world and that the white race is gonna die in like decades. It seems that way. You have a logic and you have a rationality to jump to that conclusion, to have that conclusion, and that is just shaped by your mindset of approaching the opposition. And this is just the vibe you're getting from the opposition. And just because you could be misunderstanding here, that it's actually the way you're approaching them that is making them act that way. And this conflict cannot be de-escalated. And I know it sounds like I'm trying to do that, but I realize too that, like what I talked about, the ruling class, the rich people, the class of rich people, this is where these are the influential people that make you uncomfortable. Their existence makes you uncomfortable because this is the reality of our for-profit system, capitalism. You cannot have a white baby. Most people can't because they're not financially stable. And they're not financially stable because it's just a system set up to fail. It has the illusion of being fair because it is technically possible to rise above if you pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you try really hard. And you have to try so hard. You have to have a bit of luck and intelligence, and just the normal simpleton doesn't have that. So while you're the normal simpleton, you are being brought out of comfort when you enter adulthood, and you're being brought into the real world, and it's a traumatizing, scary place, every man for himself. So when you are developing your political ideology, you're doing it from an every man for himself perspective, because the reality is, you have to work so hard to the bone to survive. You can't take a break, because if you take a break, it's homelessness and death. It's life or death. It's life or death. The anxiety is starting. So the anxiety is going to lead you to a political conclusion if you let this bother you. And if you let this bother you, you are an intelligent person who wants to fix the problem. So you're going to either go super communist, or you're going to not want to admit capitalism is the problem, and you're going to rename capitalism as Jew, and you are going to attack every Jew in the world, including the Jews in the working class, and you're going to lump in blacks, you're going to lump in liberals, you're going to have you're going to look at Adolf Hitler and his Germany, and you're going to put your perspective all together too. That's your ideology. And your ideology does not address capitalism properly. And if I'm going to attack your ideology, that is just the problem. That's just the problem. You're not looking at capitalism from the perspective of the working class. You're looking at it from the perspective of the ruling class, who is going, yeah, this is a strong economy. This is great. I am wealthy, and I am happy, and I'm doing something awesome, and I'm funny. I'm Trump, I'm wealthy, and this economy is the best thing in the world, because it is for me. Trump doesn't see anyone's perspective either, and that's why he's getting attacked so hard, and why he has also so much support, because you have one side getting what he's trying to say, and the other side not getting it. So that's the misunderstanding that everyone is having here, and why politics is so chaotic is because people aren't seeing each other's perspectives at all. But I finally get it, and that's what roped me out of it, and I'm not a fucking liberal now. I really am not. The liberals, when I argue with them, it's just, there are ideological clashes, and because I'm approaching them the right way now, what's happening is, it's frustrating because they have a lack of education about the economy. And this is purposeful in this for-profit economy because the information is hidden. It's not taught about in school. The information is hidden. People don't know shit about economics. Ask them how, the Federal Reserve works and what it is. They don't know. I have corona. You're gonna catch corona watching me in the screen. Actually, I don't have corona. My mouth is hella dry. And you obviously seen I've been coughing for 30 minutes straight without a cough. And that was a genuine cough from a dry throat and smoking too much. 420 all the time, smoking too much. I'm just gonna end the video at that. This is my problem with you. It's not a personal problem. I will not personally attack you. I feel you are headed off a fucking cliff. I feel like you're gonna doom the whole white race down with you because you're going to lose. You're going to lose because you do not take this quote to heart even though you're sharing it. You don't understand this quote. Fucking think about it. I'm not telling you what to think. Just fucking think about it and use your brain for once, because eventually you'll come to my conclusion, because I know I'm right. I know I'm convicted here. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. And you are succumbing in every battle, and you are fearing every time you enter a battle. And I could tell you're fearing because in your circles you're talking about the far left and how bad they are, and you're putting them on the same level as the ruling class. That's wrong. A lot of them are part of the working class. They're kind of at your level, and that's why they are comfortable and low-hanging fruit to attack, because you know you have no resources to attack billionaires who you feel have a political agenda that is wrong. And billionaires are just fundamentally wrong in general because they have so much wealth and it's tainting them. You see, it's tainting them. Everyone feels they are evil. It's not the fact they're a billionaire that they're evil. The fact that they're a billionaire gives them fucking a power-drunk mindset. And they are acting genuinely greedy. They are not taking anyone else's perspective. Arrogant, this is where narcissism will brew from extreme arrogance, and you see it, and the far left is uncomfortable with it. That's why they attack capitalism. The far right is uncomfortable with it, but if that individual happens to be a Jew, they will be so nasty to them just for that fact. And I just take a step back and look at the sociology here, because it's fucked up. Nobody's understanding each other's perspective at all. And I understand that I won't end this conflict. It's just, you're going to continue. If you continue this, we're all going to die. You're going to be the cause. And you know what? I'm going to make sure I survive. And I'm going to make sure that in the future history books, it's going to say that the far right and the alt-right caused the inevitable genocide of the white race because they approached their opposition with the wrong mindset and really fucking pissed off their opposition when their opposition wasn't so pissed off. They made their opposition grow so big that when the billionaires allied with their opposition, they were crushed beyond belief. It was fucked up. All these freaking crimes are happening. People are just starting to die right now. It's just starting to get hot right now. It's bothering me. I need to do something. I need to offer the perspective in a logical way because I'm really detached right now from the alt-right and the far-right, but I still understand their perspective and I still like hearing their opinions just because I'm curious. I'm an intellectually curious person and I like hearing other perspectives. I am not, you see, you're thinking emotionally when hearing another perspective is making you uncomfortable. You are thinking rationally when you can entertain the other perspective and not lose yourself and just grow as a person. That's all I'm trying to say. Please, I hope you listened to this whole video and just really got my point. And if you don't get what I'm saying, I'll have to try to present it in a different way. And I will try until you get it because you're causing the death of the white race. And now that I see you as someone who will, escalate it to that point, and it will really be justified because you're making it about race. You're the first one making it about race. But you know what? You're not even the first one because someone else brought up race to you. So it's just an endless cycle. I don't know who started it, but right now I see you as sometimes the biggest aggravator, and it's going back and forth where you're aggravating each other. It's going to clash. You're going to lose at this rate. I'm not trying to demoralize you. This is the fucking truth. I don't want to see it happen. I don't, because I'm not convinced it won't happen. And you know what? Maybe, just maybe, I could change something here that I know for a fact is wrong. Okay? So I'm going to approach this topic again in a different way. Because this is fucked up. This is real fucked up. This is life or death.